Welcome to today's session. I'm very excited about this. It's one of my favorite topics, sales, and I'm committed to you guys today that you're going to get a tremendous amount of value from the session. So some quick logistics here. This is an interactive session. I know in all my years of doing training with people and going through a bunch of training myself, the more you interact, the more you participate, the more you'll get out of it. Like I was telling folks who got here early, we're going to start on time. We are going to end on time. And I'm going to limit the amount of information that I share with you because I don't want to overwhelm you. I want to make sure that you walk away with one very solid takeaway that if you use and apply it in the way that you sell, it is going to transform your approach to every project you're trying to win. Okay? And if you stick around to the end of the webinar, as a thank you, I'm going to be sharing with you the Construction Genius Niche Analysis Tool. And what that is, it's an Excel spreadsheet that helps you score and rank your clients. You really want to be nailing work with the right clients in the right location with the right projects. And you can start using that niche analysis right away to really give you an idea of the types of clients that you should be going after. All right, so as we're getting started here, I want you to type into the box for me now, what is your biggest business development or sales win so far this year? We're right at the March here, March 5th, and I want you to type into the box for me again. Biggest sales or business development win this year so far for you. Please type that in so we can get an idea. Jim, congratulations, $10 million fire station. Let me ask you, Jim, you can give me a yes or no. Right client, right project, right location? What do you think, Jim? Yes, excellent. David, 1.8 college, very good. JP, multifamily project. Jake, 1.5. Justin, come on now, wastewater facility. 13.3, nice. Excellent, right client, John? Excellent. $7 million school. Ed, congratulations. Edgar, $1 million. Excellent. Will, come on now with the convention center at 17 million. Excellent job, guys. And one thing you want, and Jim, right on with the $1.2 million stucco. Right on. That is great. That is beautiful. The one thing you want to be thinking about is you're asking about your biggest win. Is it the right client? Is it the right location? Is it the right project type? And do I like my margins? Excellent. Thank you, Alfie. 48,000. That's excellent. Well done. And as we're going through today's session, think for a moment, what's the one thing you want to take away from today's session? What's the one thing you want to learn? Please type that into the box for me. What would be the one thing you would want to learn that would make the next 60 minutes a tremendous use of your time? What would be that one thing that you want to learn? Please type that into the box for me. I want to set some expectations for myself and what I'm delivering to you today. Rose Emily, you are going to get that. How to better position yourself in a discussion with a GC. Yeah, what do you know? Yes, Isaac, what do you go all in on and what do you pass on? Will, closing deals. What you're going to learn today, Will, is not like 10 closing techniques, but a strategic approach that's going to increase your hit rate if you use and apply it. That's excellent. How to present your company to your clients. That's great, Jim. Negotiating change orders. Jerry, you can apply what I teach you today, not only to winning new projects, but also to negotiating change orders. And Levi, getting in front of the decision maker. I'm going to share with you one question that you should always be asking to make sure that you're getting in front of the decision maker. Jake, getting in front of the right person to land the job. That's right. Yeah, JP, how to go from number 2 to the number 1 pick for developers. This is excellent. Yep. Jake, how to deal with the competition that's undercutting. Okay, excellent. That's excellent. Okay, now I want you guys to keep that in mind. And as we get into this, I want to tell you a little story. There's a GC that I was working with not long ago, and they were bidding on an $80 million multifamily project. And they put months into the bid, blood, sweat, and tears, their best people assembled for the proposal. And I asked them one simple question. Who is the final decision maker? The person who signs the check or gives the thumbs up or awards the project, the yes or the no? And their answer was, I don't know. Think about that. $80 million on the line, and they couldn't tell me who was making the final decision. And that isn't unusual. Many construction companies are doing some sort of version with this. They're great at putting together proposals. They do excellent work once they land the job, but they're still losing projects they should win, not because their work is bad or because they're technically incompetent, but because nobody has ever taught them how to sell strategically. And that's what we're going to fix today. In the session, I'm going to show you the single framework that changes how you approach every pursuit. It's called the buying influence framework. And once you see it, you will never bid a project the same way. So this is going to be a painful question I'm going to ask you now. What's the biggest project you've ever lost that you thought you had? Give me the dollar amount of the biggest project you ever lost that you thought was in the bag. Just type that dollar amount. I'm seeing some big dollars right here. 20 million, 25 million, 20 million, 40, 97. Oh, Ron, dude, I feel your pain. Ron, how long ago was that, Ron? I'm just curious. I hope it wasn't yesterday. How long ago was that? 2 years. Yeah. So it's still kind of fresh, isn't it? It's still a little bit raw. Okay. So coming in here, I can see that there's some big numbers here. And whether the number is big or small, it's significant because it's so frustrating when we put a lot of time and effort in to winning work. We think we've done everything right. And then, oh man, we don't win the project. So today you're going to learn a framework that will help you to fix that. Okay, let me just tell you a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know me. I've been selling since 1986. I started selling pizza as a teenager in Berkeley, California on Telegraph Avenue in a pizza parlor called Blondie's. I've sold copy machines, software, leadership programs. I've made tens of thousands of cold calls, many, many presentations. I've been rejected thousands of times. I've closed millions of dollars in sales. I've been working specifically with construction companies since 2004, GCs and subs and specialty contractors of all sizes, ranging from $3 million all the way up to $3 billion plus. You see here, Greg Hall, one of my clients from Tilton Pacific, he said, that one thing that stood out about working with me was my knowledge of construction. I'm familiar with the terms specific to construction. I know the terms and understand the ins and outs of your business. And Greg said as a result of that, it was much easier for him to communicate with me and achieve the results they were looking for. So I have deep, deep experience working in construction. And everything that I'm going to teach you today rests on one truth that I want you to keep in the back of your mind for the entire session. And this has everything to do with influencing people. So in addition to having a strong strategic approach, which you're going to learn a little bit later, you must be able to influence people well. And the fundamental truth that you have to learn is that people buy from people that they know, trust, and like. So let me tell you what that actually looks like. I have a client, he's the CEO of his company, and I call him the Rainmaker. And the reason why is this guy is willing to drive, fly, spend the time getting face-to-face with potential clients. He doesn't just send emails and hope. He shows up, and that's the know part, getting your face in the place. Okay, so let me ask you this. How long has it been in days or weeks or months since you had a face-to-face conversation with a potential client? Please type that into the box for me. How long has it been since you had a face-to-face conversation with a client? Richard, 1 week. That's great. Edgar, 2 weeks. Jim, yesterday. I love that. Yes, less than an hour ago. Come on now. That's beautiful. That is really great. Today, excellent. 2 weeks ago. Okay, awesome. Now, ask yourself, am I happy with that? Am I having a hard time getting out of the office and getting belly to belly with people, having a lunch with someone, having a coffee, meeting them at a networking event, maybe taking them out golfing? Whatever it is, people buy from people that they know. And if you're not spending time with someone, it's tough for them to get to know you. Okay, the next part is the trust. Okay, and I want to give you an illustration. Think about Pete Rose. Give me a thumbs up if you know who Pete Rose is. Just give me a thumbs up. Right in the emoji box right there. I want to see if you guys remember. Yeah. Okay. Pete Rose, I tell you, he was the all-time major league hit leader with 4,256 hits. Over 75% of them were singles. Less than 4% were home runs. So you don't build trust by walking in and trying to land a massive project on day one, particularly in a negotiated environment. If you're in a hard bid environment, maybe you do land a massive project. But usually, typically, you start small. You bid a smaller job, you deliver, you're responsive, you answer your emails within 24 hours, you deal with issues and change orders in such a way that they're getting to know you and to trust you a little bit more. And you build trust the same way Pete Rose built a career. One single at a time. Okay? Because the more you build trust with those small jobs, then you're setting yourself up for those big jobs in the future. Give me a thumbs up or give me a yes if this insight makes sense to you in terms of starting small and building trust as you're looking to develop a relationship with your clients. Okay, good. It's making sense. That's wonderful. Now, and what's the like part all about? This is very interesting. In sales, you want to show up as a king. You don't want to show up desperate. You want to show up equal. Kings talk to kings. Don't be subservient. Don't show up begging for work. Show up to solve problems and add value. Now, not everyone is going to like you. One of my clients told me once, some people like ribeye, others just want a hamburger, and that's fine. Maybe you're the ribeye. You don't need everyone, especially if you're the ribeye and all they want to do is pay hamburger prices, right? You don't need everyone. You need the right people. So know, trust, and like is a foundational principle. That's who people buy from. So think about this. What is one thing you need to do so that people will get to know you? One thing you need to do so that people will get to trust you? One thing that you do so that people will get to like you? And let me give you a key insight when it comes to that like and that equality piece. Being willing to walk away from an opportunity is more important than actually walking away. Because being willing to walk away, going in there as an equal, not desperate, not begging for work, that gives you a certain power and authority as you're negotiating and as you're putting together deals and as you're looking at their contract and maybe redlining out areas that you don't like so that you can have that face-to-face, right? Adult to adult, human to human interaction that establishes in the minds of your clients that you're not just another contractor, that you are someone who understands the work, that you do know how to solve problems and add value. This is absolutely critical. And this is the foundation, but it's not a strategy. Most construction professionals I meet, they already understand what I'm talking about instinctively, even if they haven't articulated it in this way. But where they get stuck is turning this into a system. So how do you figure out who to build trust with? How do you know if you're building a relationship with the right person or wasting months on someone who can't actually make the decision? So here's what I see a lot of times in construction. You got estimators who are brilliant at putting numbers together, but have never been trained to build relationships with the decision makers. Type in yes to the box for me if you have an estimator who is brilliant at the numbers, but not that brilliant at the relationships. Give me a yes if that's the case. Okay, exactly. Yo, we got a yes plus plus plus. Yeah, good. Edgar, that's you? Good. Well, this is going to help you, Edgar. Thank you for dropping the mask there, Edgar. And think about this. You've got project managers who deliver great work, but they don't know how to leverage that into the next project. They don't think of that. They don't think of themselves in sales. They think of themselves just as building projects, and they don't think of themselves in sales. And yet your project managers, your superintendents, your foremen, they're all in sales whether they realize it or not. In fact, they're on the front line of your sales efforts because obviously you don't want to just build one project for a client. If they have multiple projects, whether they're a GC or a developer, you want to develop long-term relationships with them. And that's one of the key things about construction, dude, is that you're selling every single day when you go out to the job site and build work. And then you've got maybe owners, and I know we have some owners of companies here in the call, and you've built your company on relationships, but perhaps you can't figure out why those relationships aren't producing the results that they used to. And the biggest challenge for a lot of clients that I work with or a lot of construction companies is you spend weeks putting together proposals for people who have, and then you have no idea actually where you stand. And you don't know if you're the front runner or the check number. You don't know who's really making the decision, and you don't have a system for figuring it out. And as a result of that, your hit rate's not where you want it to be. It's maybe 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 if you're lucky. And if you chalk that up to that's just how construction works, that's okay, but it doesn't have to work that way. Your hit rate can be a lot better than that. Now, type into the box for me, what is your ideal hit rate? Not necessarily what it is right now, but what's your ideal hit rate for your company? Okay, so it's across the board, isn't it? We've got 20%, 15%, 40%, 30%. And so it varies. So I don't want to just throw out one number. You know your number. But what I want you to do is just to reflect. Is your hit rate where you want it to be right now? Just give me a yes or no in the box. Is it where you want it to be? Okay, so it's almost universal here that it's not. And that's what I want you to focus on here. As we go through this process right now, I want you to focus on your improving your hit rate. Okay? So this is the main teaching that I want you to walk away with here today. All right? Every complex sale in construction has 4 buying influences. Okay? And these are not necessarily just 4 people. They're actually roles. And until you can name who's playing each role on every project you're pursuing, you're really flying blind. And so I want to walk through each one of these roles. And again, I'm going to get you this slide deck. Okay. So I just want you to listen now and to reflect. I want you to begin to think about a particular project that you're working on. Okay. One that you're bidding on, a relationship that you're developing. And think about the different roles. The first one we're going to talk about is the most important one ultimately, and that is the economic buyer. Okay? This is the person or group of persons who signs the check. They give the final approval to buy. And let me say this, there is always one person, or perhaps one who is the first among equals, playing this role for any given project. This is the person who can say yes when everybody else says no, and they can veto a deal that everyone else has approved. Their focus is on the bottom line. What's the ROI of this project? What's the impact on our organization? They're the ones who control the money. And here's what it looks like in construction. Let's say you're a general contractor chasing a project with a developer. You've been building a great relationship with their owner's rep, the construction manager they hire to run the project. You've been taking that person out to lunch for 6 months. But the developer's principal, the one writing the check that you've never been in the same room with, that's the one who's the final decision maker. Or let's say that you're a subcontractor and you've got a great relationship with the GC's project manager, but it's the VP of pre-construction, that's the one who's actually deciding which subs make the shortlist. So it's the same problem. You've been investing all of your relationship capital with someone who can't actually say yes. Now, I want you to think about the biggest opportunity that you are pursuing right now. Can you name the economic buyer? Yes or no? Please type that into the box for me. Just a simple yes or no. Okay. I'm getting a few yeses. I'm getting some no's. Okay. Now, those of you who've typed in yes, give me a score of 1 to 5 on how that person feels about your offering at the moment. 1 is they're not going to pick me. 5 is they're definitely going to pick me. Okay, I've got a 3, I've got a 4, a 3, a 3.5. Darren, a 5. Nice. Shay, a 5. I've got a 2. Okay, and you want to be thinking about that. Part of your job when you think strategically is not only who's making the final decision, but who, that person, how do they feel about what you're offering? And for those of you who typed in no, if you don't know the economic buyer, you're not really in sales, you're in hope. You're hoping. And hope is not a strategy when it comes to selling. Now, let me ask you this. Type this into the box for me. What do you think is one thing you can do to figure out who the economic buyer is? I want to get you guys thinking here. What's one thing you can do to get, ask. Yes. Now, in a little bit, I'm going to give you a simple question that you must ask in every single situation. Okay? All right. Now, let's go on to the next buying influence. This is the user buyer. Okay? This is the person whose daily job is affected by your work. It could be the project manager of the GC if you're a subcontractor. It could be the superintendent, the owner's rep. Their personal success is tied to your performance. And there can be several user buyers in a single sale. Their question is simple. How will this work for me in my job? So for instance, if you're a subcontractor working with a GC, what does the GC of the superintendent say about working with you? What is your reputation? So for instance, if the CEO of the GC went to the superintendent and said, hey, can you recommend to me one mechanical contractor to build the next project, and you're a mechanical contractor, would the superintendent recommend you? Okay. Now, here's what some people miss. User buyers aren't always just on the construction side. Think about who's going to occupy the building when it's done. The facilities manager who has to maintain it. The hospital administrator who needs the operating room suites laid out in a certain way. The plant operations director who cares about workflow and logistics. These people may not be signing your contract rather, but they're in the owner's ear, and their opinion carries weight. So think about the construction manager on site who loves your crew because you show up on time, you're clean, you communicate well. That's a user buyer who will go to bat for you. And if you know to ask for them, and if you know how to identify them, you can then influence them when it comes to selling projects. Now, let me ask you this. Give me a yes or no if this concept of user buyer makes sense to you. Excellent. I'm getting lots of yeses. This is really helpful. I want to make sure that I'm making sense and this is valuable to you. Okay, now let's just pause for a moment. Think about the project that you're bidding on right now and that you're working on. Do you know who the user buyer is or user buyers? Give me a yes or no on that. And if you like, just type into the box for me. If you do know them, what is their title? You don't need to type in their name, but give me their title. I just want to get an idea to see who those user buyers are. Yeah, John, construction manager. Thank you. The CM. I appreciate that. What's their title? The owner. Good insight there. So the owner, Shay, give me a yes or no here. The owner, is that the economic buyer as well? Yes. Okay, excellent. So this is very important. I want to go back here in the slides. I want to make sure that you guys understand this. The economic buyer could be the user buyer and the technical buyer all at the same time, okay? So they're not necessarily just one individual for one box. There could be multiple individuals, and one individual could be in more than one box. So give me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you, because that's a key insight right there. So Edgar, for instance, yeah, really good right there. Okay, so look at this, Edgar. Now look, you've got your project engineers in there, along with your supers and the VP of estimating. A long time ago, one of my mentors in business gave me a key insight, and this is going to sound obvious, but I think it's really important. It's be respectful of every single person that you come into contact with, okay? Even if it's just the project engineer of a GC. Be respectful of every person. Now, let me ask you this. Type into the box for me, as a subcontractor, those of you who are subs, why is it important to have good, strong relationships, even with the project engineers who are a little wet behind the ears, who maybe don't have everything together, but you know that they're part of the team and they're definitely influencing? Andrew, you nailed it. They are going to become the decision makers later on. And think about your project managers who are working with those project engineers. And think about how over the next 5, 10, 15 years, they can be developing those know, trust, and like relationships. Edgar, you nailed it, providing guidance. This is really important, guys. It's really important to think this way. So let's get on to the next one. And the next one is a little tricky and a little difficult to identify sometimes, and that's the technical buyer. Now, these guys are gatekeepers. They can't say yes, but they can absolutely say no. Their job is to screen, to filter, and to limit the number of people who are bidding on the project. They focus on specifications, qualifications, and compliance. And here's the danger. Technical buyers sometimes mask themselves as the final decision maker when they're not. They don't decide who wins. They decide who gets to play the game. Okay? So in construction, this is the procurement department that tells you that you didn't make the short list, or the architect who specs a product you don't carry, or an engineer who reviews your submittals and rejects them on a technicality. They don't choose the winner, but they eliminate the losers. Now, give me a thumbs up if what I'm saying makes sense here. Okay, I'm getting some yeses. Good. I'm getting yeses or thumbs up. That's good. Beautiful. Okay, now, give me a yes or no on this one. Have you ever mistaken a technical buyer for the economic buyer? In other words, man, the yeses came in fast there. Okay, I have as well, man. And it's frustrating, right? Because the technical buyers sometimes are set up by the economic buyer as that buffer, and they're quite happy to tell the technical buyer that they have decision-making power, only to take it away from them at the last moment and make the decision themselves. And so it's really, really important that you can distinguish between the technical buyer and the economic buyer. Now, type into the box for me, for your business, what are some examples of technical buyers? What are their titles, or how would you describe them? Folks who are technical buyers. Joe, Federal, yep. Yeah, Andrew, GC estimators, purchasing agents. Yeah, estimators, Brendan, yeah, the innovation team. That's interesting. Building engineers, Lacey. Yep. Yes. Contracting. Yeah, there you go, Joe. Thank you. I appreciate that. A little bit of clarity for me. Okay, this is really good. You've got to be able to distinguish those. Now, let me give you another tip. I know for me, I'm going to get frustrated with those technical buyers, and I'm going to attempt to go around them, or at least I used to do that in the past. That's a big mistake. Why is it a mistake to try and go around the technical buyers, to ignore them, in other words? Type into the box for me why you think that's a mistake. Yeah, JP, you lose trust. Exactly. Exactly, Adam. Disrespect. They do have the power of the no. They do influence. They can kick you out. This is exactly right. So again, you don't want to, bow down to them and follow everything that they do, but you want to make sure that you give them everything that they need. Don't give them a reason to say no if it's within your control to give them the information that will enable them to say yes. Don't give them a reason. Make it easy for them. Be respectful of them. And if you are respectful of them, and if you've got your ducks in a row, and if you're giving them the information they need, it's much more likely that they will smooth the path for you to the user buyers and the economic buyers. Okay, let's go on to the last person that you want to be thinking about. And this is the coach. This is a very interesting role in a complex sale like a construction project. This is very unique and powerful. A coach actively helps you navigate the sale. They give you information about the other buyers. They tell you where you stand. They can advise you on strategy. They want you to win the project. They can exist inside the buying organization. They could be outside of it, or they could be even inside your own company. Their focus is on helping you get the project. So let's say you're bidding on a process wastewater handling project at a food manufacturing facility. Piping, pumps, pre-treatment equipment, the works. The outside engineer who designed the system wants you to get the project. She knows your work. She trusts your guys. And she starts giving you insights like the plant manager is worried about the schedule because they can't shut down production. The VP of operations is the one who actually signs off on the contract, not the facilities director you've been talking to. That's a coach. They have the intelligence, the insight that can change your entire approach. So give me a yes or a thumbs up if this is making sense to you, this idea of coach. Randy, yep, I got a yes. Okay, good. Okay, now, often, though, you may not go about getting yourself a coach. And I think that's a mistake, particularly on complex projects. You want to be cultivating these relationships. And you notice something about this outside engineer that I was just talking about, and we touched on this earlier. She's playing three roles at once. She's a technical buyer because she designed the specs. She's a user buyer. She'll be involved in commissioning, and her professional reputation is on the line. And she's your coach. One person, three roles. That happens all the time in construction, which is why you need to think in terms of roles, not just people. Okay. All right. Now, let's go back to the buying influence chart. So think about that project that you're working on right now. You can just sketch out your buying influence chart, identify who the economic buyer is, the user buyers, the technical buyers, the coach. And then ask yourself, does this person have high influence, medium influence, low influence? And then give them a score from 1 to 5. 1 being there's no way they're going to pick me. 5 being they absolutely want my offering and they are absolutely going to pick me. And so if you have the name, if you understand the level of influence they have, and if they know if you know the 1 to 5 score, that's really, really going to give you a lot of information that you can then use. But now let me tell you this. Every single project you're pursuing, you can draw this simple chart. 4 boxes with these buyers, and you fill in their names and you rate their influence. And anywhere that you have a blank, that's a red flag. Anywhere you have someone rated as high influence that you've never spoken to, red flag. Anyone who has no interest in working with you, they're, in other words, a 1 or a 2, red flag. And let me say this, the best salespeople in construction are not the smoothest talkers. They're the ones who see the most red flags and do something about them before it's too late. Your red flags will tell you the conversations that you need to have. Now, I want you to think about a project that you're bidding on right now, that you're working on, and it may be going to bid next week. It may be something that's going to be happening next month or even next year. And I want you to type into the box for me, just based on what we've been talking about so far, right off the top of your head, how many red flags are there? How many pieces of missing information do you have just based on what you've learned in the last few minutes? How many red flags? Okay, I've got 1, 2. Okay, good. 2. Don't be ashamed of the red flags. You should want to get red flags. Roger, 4. That's good. Excellent. 4, 2, 3, 25. Is that 2.5 or 25? If it's 25, that's great. You really have some work to do there. Okay? So this is excellent. The best people see the most red flags, and those red flags then guide them in terms of the information they need to provide, the conversations that they need to have. Perhaps they need to bring in other people to have those conversations. For example, if you have someone in your organization, let's say you have a junior estimator working on a project, and you need to bring in the VP of estimating or even the owner in order to have the conversation with the economic buyer or the key user buyer, you should be thinking through that strategy. Okay, now just type into the box for me. Has what I shared with you so far, is it valuable to you? Is this useful? Give me a yes or a no on this. Is this useful, what we've been talking about so far? Okay, good. I'm getting a ton of yeses, and this is good. And the reason I'm asking this is because it's not what you go through today that's going to be beneficial, but it's taking this information and using and applying it right now. So on your next project or on this project that you're working on, sketch this out. Start to use the information. Start to get comfortable with it. All right, now, here's a questioning framework that'll help you with the economic buyer. And I've been using this myself for decades. And it's a very simple question. It's for when you're talking with anyone involved in the project. It could be the coach, it could be the user buyer, it could be the technical buyer, it could be the economic buyer. And it's a very simple question. Who besides yourself is involved in the final decision? Who besides yourself is going to award this project? I'm going to chat this into the box. Who besides yourself is involved in awarding this project or making the final decision? Alicia, what if it's a public entity? Is it a negotiated project or is it a hard bid project? Type that in for me, please. It's hard bid. This particular framework is more useful in the negotiated project realm, okay? Because if it's hard bid, the number is the number. Does that make sense, Alicia? Okay, good. Yeah, this is very much a negotiated environment approach. Because in the hard bid environment, the number's the number, and that's just the way it goes, okay? But what I want you to do now, you can take this question, use it in every single conversation. And when you ask the question, look at their eyes, see what they do when you ask that question, and see if there's any lack of certainty, particularly when they say, I'm the final decision maker. And if you detect that, then that gives you information. So think about a project that you lost in the last year that you thought you were going to win or that you wanted to win. Maybe you didn't think you were going to win it, but you really wanted it. What buying influence did you miss? Type that into the box. Was it economic? Was it technical? Was it the user buyer? Or maybe it wasn't or maybe it was the coach. Okay, Andy, we got an economic buyer. I appreciate you putting that in. Economic and coach. Yeah, those coaches are really important, particularly on the complex sales. Jerry, economic. Okay. Jim, coach. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Kinney, economic. All right. Now, let me just stop here for a moment. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask before we move on? Type any questions that you like. Yeah, if you don't know any of the clients, what I would do, What I would do there is very simple. I would make a list of the top clients, and I would go out and start making some calls on them. Yep. As far as a public sale is concerned, in the hard bid environment, I think what you have to do is it's more about when you're building the project, because I know in some hard bid environments, when you're building the project, they may then come up with extra work, Alicia, that doesn't go out to bid. And the fact that you've delivered well during the building of the project enables them to give you that work without you having to bid on it. Does that make sense, Alicia? And so keep in mind that you're always selling, even when you're building the project. What kind of feedback? Andrew, yeah. So you may get a very definite, I'm the person who makes that final decision, and you just have to evaluate whether or not they're telling you the truth. You may get an equivocation. You may get a variety of answers, but what you want to do is to look them in the eye and get that information. That's the most important thing. What's their body language telling you? Yeah, exactly. Andrew, I would do a couple of things. I would ask who besides yourself is involved. When they tell you, ask them, would you mind introducing me to them? That's the first thing I would do. The worst thing they can do is say no. You might then ask them, Andrew, well, is there a reason why you don't want to introduce me to them? And then get some feedback. And then if there's really a roadblock there, you might want to go to the coach or go to your user, to another buyer with the name of that person and see if you can get them introduced. You might want to see, do I know someone outside the organization who knows them, who can then introduce me? So you have to get creative at that point, Andrew. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. Let me get on to this little bonus here, and this is the 4 response modes. Okay, and this is a very important, subtle insight. Every buyer you're dealing with is in one of these 4 response modes, and 2 of them give you a shot at the sale, and 2 of them mean you're probably wasting your time. The first one is the growth mode, and this is where the buyer wants more or better quality. They see a gap between where they are and where they want to be. Maybe they're a CEO and they've just acquired a new property and it's just dirt, and they see a gap between the dirt and the project that they want to build. Maybe it's a GC who has a new opportunity and wants to bring you along. They're expanding, they're ambitious, and they need you. And the question is this: does your solution reduce or eliminate the gap between where they are and where they want to be? And if yes, then you're in a great position. The second response mode is the trouble mode. This buyer wants certain results and they're not getting them. Their current contractor is underperforming. It's the GC who has an electrical contractor who just walked off the job, or who is a total loser, right? It's the project that's behind schedule. There's a negative gap between what they expected and what's happening. It's the owner who got burnt on their last project and is really looking for someone who can come in and shore things up. And this actually may be more urgent than the growth mode, because someone is in pain, they need a solution, and they need it now. So can you think about someone who's in growth mode at the moment, or someone who's in trouble mode? These are your best shots. Type "got it" into the box if what I'm saying makes sense. Type in "got it" for me if what I'm saying about these growth modes makes sense. Okay, good. The next 2 are the even keel mode. That's the third one. The buyer's perfectly happy with their current contractors. They see no gap. There's no urgency. There's no reason to change. You're definitely a check number, and the probability of making the sale is pretty low. So don't waste your time there. And then the 4th one is the overconfident mode. They think everything is great and maybe even better than it actually is. They're thinking, who needs your proposal? That's their attitude. Their perception of reality is inflated. There's no reason for them to act. So growth and trouble create buying opportunities. Even keel and overconfident kill them. And if you can't tell which mode your buyer is in, that's a red flag. So for the person that you're going after right now, think about your active pursuits. If someone's in growth mode or someone's in trouble mode, these are your best opportunities. Okay, so knowing the framework is not using it. And that's the difference between reading about how to frame a building and actually doing it. So what I've walked you through is an overview, but I want to really dive into a little bit more detail on how you can actually use and apply this in your business in a way that you can get into the depths of this. And I want to introduce you to Jimmy. What Jimmy did is he's the president of General Sheet Metal, and he took 6 of his team members through my business development strategic selling course. And after implementing the strategies that I taught him, in the first session, their newest team member closed his first 2 deals. Their backlog had been thin, the team was stressed, and the atmosphere is was tense, but by the end of the course, they beat their quarterly sales target at 160% of plan. And what he said is this: my training didn't just make the team better, it paved the pathway for them to become the best in their field. And my ability to engage all the team members equally through thought-provoking questions opened their minds to new strategies that transformed how they operate. James Brett is another gentleman who's been through my training, and he never had any sales training in his life. He's from England, and he had just taken on a new business development role, and his strategy for selling was hoping for the best. And during the course, he was bidding on a £3 million project, and he told me that the strategic analysis that we just went through completely changed his approach. And without the course, he would have approached it differently and lost the project. He landed that project. So his strategy, and these are his exact words: my strategy to approaching sales situations is now clear and calculated, which is how I like to work. I got a fresh strategic approach to sales rather than just hoping for the best. And here's Brandon Davidson. When he went through the course with me, he was a senior estimator PM. He's now a project executive, and he took from the course things that has been helping him to build his sales skills over the last 5 to 6 years. Okay, and he said it's a great course. You'll be able to take things from it for the rest of your career. So let me give you some idea about what the course is all about. It's the Construction Genius Selling Academy, 4 sessions, 2 hours each, live on Zoom every other week. Sessions 1 and 2 are about your mindset and core sales behavior. Sessions 3 and 4 about strategic selling in complex environments, where we dive into this buying influence chart. So in the first 2 sessions, we're going to dive deep on business development mindset and core sales behavior that actually move the needle. You'll take a Profile XT sales assessment that you're going to understand your natural selling strengths and your blind spots. We cover 6 critical sales behaviors that'll help you to win work over the long term. And you'll walk away understanding the unique nature of construction sales and how to shift from pushy tactics to trusted partnerships that generate repeat business. And again, sessions 3 and 4, I've given you a taste of session 3 and 4, but it's really your strategic selling engine. The buying influence framework you saw today, but applied to real opportunities where we map your buyers, identify your red flags. We work hand in hand to make sure you're building strategic plans that work. You'll learn how to assess exactly where you stand with each buyer and whether you have a real shot or you're just wasting your time. So you're going to leave with a repeatable system that you can use on every pursuit for the rest of your career. Okay? All right. Now, this is what's included again: 4 live sessions, the sales assessment, all course workbooks and materials, unlimited lifetime email access to me, and also a strategic planning framework for your business development activities. Now, this is not a 3-day intensive that you forget by next week. It's not generic. It's not about cold calling techniques. It's not about high pressure closing techniques or tactics. It's 4 sessions every other week, built for construction, focusing on real pursuits. And it's all about strategy and mindset. It's not about being sleazy and cheesy. This is for estimators, PMs, business development people, C-suite folks, company owners, and it's not for this guy right here. It's not for a cheesy, sleazy salesperson. Okay, and this is the session schedule. Enrollment's going to close in March, and March 12th, but we'll start March 1st, okay? And it'll run through May 12th. And that's 4 sessions live with me, with unlimited lifetime email access, not just during the course, but also after it, okay? When you enroll, you're going to get that business development strategic planning framework. It's a $1,500 value. It's the same tool I use when I consult one-on-one with construction companies to map out their entire business development strategy, okay? And let me give you the pricing here. The private company training for a session like this, $8,000. Same format, same framework, same assessments over Zoom, and that is money well spent. The companies I work with get tremendous value from that. In this workshop, you're getting the same frameworks, the same assessments, the same access to me in a small group setting with other construction pros, and the investment is $39.97 per person. Now, if you're thinking about bringing a team of 3 or more from your company, The investment drops to $34.97 a person. And that's where the real magic happens. When your team has the same language, the same system, and you can work on your pursuits together. I cap the training at 20 seats maximum, and that's intentional. It's not a lecture with 200 people, but it's really focused on helping you to work on your particular projects that you're bidding on right now. You're bringing real deals to the table, and I need to be able to work with each one of you. So there's limited seats, and once they're filled, they're filled. So to put the investment in perspective, if this framework helps you to win one project that you would have otherwise lost, you've paid for the course many times over. Jimmy Roth's team hit 160% of their quarterly target. Another guy who went through my training, Cedric at SR Freeman, used the buying influence chart to close a $250,000 condo remodel with $1.2 million more in the pipeline. So the ROI isn't hypothetical, okay? So you also get a 100% money back guarantee. After the first session, if this is not for you, just send me an email. I will give you a full refund with no questions asked. So if you want to enroll, there's a QR code right here. And I'm going to chat into the box the link to a web page that you can share if you need to go share this with people in your organization. So if you want to enroll, you can scan and you can get the all the information, scan the barcode. You might be saying, I don't have time. Well, it's every other week. It's 2 hours, and it's less than the time that you spent on one single wasted estimate. So the time really shouldn't be an issue for you. And you might be saying, I'm not a salesperson. Well, let me say this. This is built for construction pros who hate selling but need to win work. And whether you realize it or not, you are in sales. Remember, James Brett had 0 sales training when he took the course. And as a result of it, he really, really helped him to be more effective. Another guy, Francisco from SR Freeman, said he doesn't like being sold on things and he hates pushy people. And this course is perfect for people in business development, he said, who hate selling but need a system to help them to win more projects. Okay? So this is the kind of thinking that we do together in the course. So I'd be delighted if you want to sign up and join me for that training. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at eric@constructiongenius.com. I'm going to be closing enrollment in the course on March 12th. So you have some time here to consider it, but we need to get you signed up so that you can take the assessment before March 31st when the first session comes in and starts. So give me a yes or a thumbs up if we're making sense so far on this. Excellent. You don't see the link. Yeah, I've chatted the link in. I can chat it in again. Here's the link. You can see it on my screen as well. Here's the web page. Good. We're getting some thumbs up. Excellent. Okay, now I want to provide you with an extra bonus. I want to leave you with 11 rules that were developed by Salesforce. Now, I know they sell software, but I'll tell you one thing. They know how to sell. So I want to give you these 11 rules as a walk away for you to be thinking about as you get into your week. And remember, I'll be sending you these slides so you can share them with everyone. The first rule is think big and have an attitude. Think big in terms of dollars and scope, even if you need to start small. Remember, starting small leads you to those big projects, but don't just think of the immediate opportunity in front of you. Think about how what you're bidding on today will lead you to something bigger in the future. No deal is won or lost alone. If you're an estimator working on a project and you need some help, bring the entire team in to work on new deals and brainstorm how to do a better job. Bring in project managers who've built similar projects and get their insights into your number. Clint, you're welcome. I'll make sure you get everything there, Clint. Thanks for joining me. So make sure that you bring in the whole team to work on a project. Next one is connect the dots. Never cold call, always call with a plan. Constantly reach out to contacts and find connections before engaging with a prospect. Instead of thinking why a deal will close, be negative, be skeptical, and ask why it might not close. Anticipating the why nots gives you a significant advantage over your competitors. That goes back to the red flags that we were talking about earlier. Make sure every deal is closed if it's ready to close. Don't waste any time leaving chance for the deal stalling and potentially getting away. Meet your customers in person. We've been talking a lot about this today. You won't be able to learn anything about them by just talking on the phone. It also strengthens the customer's confidence in you. Fun facts build instant credibility. Try to learn everything about your customer and collect fun facts that could be used to build your credibility. Be proactive in all paperwork. Dot those I's, cross those T's. Make sure that the technical buyer gets everything that they need to build confidence that they can present you to the user buyer and to the economic buyer, knowing that these guys have their act together. Always get quid pro quo in negotiations. Don't be afraid to ask for more, and don't be afraid to say no when needed, okay? Share best practices. So within your organization, share great emails or proposals and try and learn from them and use them in other deals as well. Go after game changers. Look for projects that can take the company to the next level. Okay, that's absolutely essential. All right. And for those of you who've stuck around, construction niche analysis. I'm gonna share that with you guys right now. Okay. And so I want to make sure that you get that. Let me just hold on a second. I need to go find it. You guys have stuck around here to the end. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to make sure you get the construction niche analysis. Here it is. It's a Google Doc and you can download it. I'm going to chat it into the box for you right now. I want to make sure that you get that construction niche analysis. Yeah, I just chatted it in, guys. This is really awesome. I've had a great time here today. So use this. So type into the box for me now. What did you learn? We just spent an hour together. It's 11 o'clock. If you need to pop off, you can pop off, but I'm going to be sticking around for some questions. But what did you learn? Type that into the box for me. What did you learn? What did you notice? What are you going to do differently? Give me some feedback here. Excellent. Build relationships, David. Go for that. That's beautiful. Put more effort into this. Yeah. Yeah. Map out those projects. That's beautiful, Andrew. Well done. Yeah, you do, Rose Emily. You do need to meet more people on the GC side. Joe will catch up soon. That's awesome. Go after the buyers. Yep. Identify those types of buyers. Well done, AJ. That's great. All right. Excellent. Well done, friends. Okay, so it's 11 o'clock straight up. I'm going to stick around here now for some questions. If anyone has any questions, please, yeah, I like that, Brendan. Go do that. If you guys have any questions, please type those into the box. I'm happy. Yeah, Chewy, don't take no for an answer. Hit that sucker. That is great. Again, here's the QR code for the training. It'd be great to have you here. Shay, thank you. You're welcome, Ron. Thank you. Thanks for coming, Ron. I really appreciate that. Awesome. Well done, Adam. Okay, that's great. You're welcome, John. Great to see you, man. I really, really appreciate you coming. You're welcome, David. You're welcome, Edgar.